Welcome to the Holistic Productivity Podcast. I'm your host, Chris LeBrun, helping you achieve your goals in every area of life so you can dream big, plan smart, and live fully. You have values, but are you actually using them? Because a value you can't use to make a decision with is just a word on a wall. If I asked you right now to name your top 2 or 3 values, the things that matter most to you and how you live your life, could you do it? I think a lot of people can, family, faith, freedom, integrity, health, relationships. These words come pretty easy. We know what we believe in. We know what feels right and what feels wrong. We have a general sense of the kind of person that we want to be and the kind of life that we want to live. But here's the question that makes it a little bit harder to answer. Are these values actually shaping your goals? Are they informing your decisions you make about where to spend your time and energy? Or are they just kind of sitting there, framed on a wall or somewhere, or tucked away in a journal entry you wrote a few years ago and you haven't looked at since? Because there's a big difference between the values you believe in and the values you operate from. And most of us are much better at the first one than we are the second. Here's what I mean. Say someone tells me that they want to start their own business. It's a great goal, but when I ask them why, really why they want to start the business, the answer is usually something like, I want more control over my schedule. I want my effort to benefit me directly. I want the freedom to work on my own terms. And that's still not the value. When we dig a little bit deeper, what we usually find is something like this. I want more freedom and flexibility so I can be more present for my family. I want to build something that gives me time back, time that I can actually invest in the people and the things that matter most to me. That's the value. Family, freedom, presence. The business is just the vehicle the value is trying to drive. And here's why that distinction matters so much. When you don't understand the value underneath the goal, it is incredibly easy to end up chasing the wrong thing, to build the business, but lose the family in the process, to get the promotion, but resent the hours, to hit the target and feel nothing when you get there, because the target was never actually connected to what you valued in the first place. I learned this in a way I did not expect a few years ago. I had a job for over 10 years that had a 4-day work week. Every Friday I had off. It was great. I loved it. I could use that time for personal projects, to schedule my doctor's appointments or run errands for the family. Then I changed jobs. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. If you've ever gone down the rabbit hole of trying every to-do list or project management app, you know how exhausting it can be. You download the app, you set it up, enter all your data, and then scramble to cancel it before the trial ends. Trust me, I've been there and it's no fun. That's why I love Efficient.app. Alex and Andra, a husband and wife team, have spent over a decade testing and reviewing software of all types so that you don't have to. Calendars, project management, banking, planners, email marketing, you name it, they've covered it with honest reviews and side-by-side comparisons. And they don't sugarcoat it. If a tool isn't worth your time, they tell you straight up. I've personally found their reviews super helpful when I was trying to sort through different project management apps. It saved me a ton of time and frustration. Best of all, they often have special deals on the tools they recommend so that you can save money. I'm especially grateful to Efficient.app because they've been supporting the Holistic Productivity Podcast since the very beginning. The best way to check them out and support the podcast is through the link in the show notes. So next time you're looking for software, let Efficient.app do the work for you. Trust me, you will not regret it. And my wife, very wisely as it turns out, cautioned me that I'd be giving up my Fridays. I told her, that's not a big deal. No big deal. I was excited about the new role, the new opportunity, the new challenge. A day off, I could handle losing that. Well, turns out my wife was right. And that may be more painful than losing Friday off. Don't get me wrong, I love my current job. It is the most fun job I have ever had. But those Fridays, man, I did not realize how much they meant to me until they were gone. That day every week was my time. It was time to work on personal projects, time to invest in the things that I care about outside of work, time to breathe and to think and to move towards goals that have nothing to do with my professional life. It was the built in space where my personal and purpose driven values got to live. And my wife was right. She is never going to let me forget that, nor should she really. But here's what I took from that experience. I had a value that I didn't even know I had until a decision that I made bumped up against it. And if I had been clearer on that value going in, I might have negotiated differently, advocated for greater flexibility, or find a way to protect that time even in the new role. Instead, I discovered the value the hard way by losing what it was giving me. That's what happens when your values are decorative instead of operational. They can't protect you from the decisions that work against them because you're not consulting them when it counts. So here's what I want you to do. Pull out your values, whether that's on a list that you already have or something you need to write down for the first time. And then look at your current goals right alongside them. For each goal, ask yourself, what value is this actually serving? And is this goal the best way to serve that value? Or is there a version of this that honors what I actually care about more directly? Your values are not a distraction, they are a decision making tool. So use them like one. We just talked about values, how they're supposed to be a filter you make decisions with, not a poster you hang on your wall and admire. And I want to push that idea one step further because plans have the exact same problem. And I know this might sound like a strange thing for me to say. I mean, I talk about plans constantly, dream big, plan smart, live fully. Planning is literally in the tagline for my podcast and my productivity business. I've got you doing Sunday strategy sessions. I've got you building goal roadmaps. I don't think there's a single productivity guy out there who doesn't talk about planning, and I'm no exception. So here's the confession. I've watched people, good people, thoughtful people, intelligent people, get so attached to the plan that they lose the thread of why they made the plan in the first place. Here's how it usually happens. It's one of two ways. The first, they never actually defined their values to begin with. So the plan isn't serving anything. It's just a plan, steps on a page. And when steps on a page start to feel more important than the life those steps are supposed to build, well, you've created a very efficient path to nowhere in particular. The second way, and this one's a little bit sneakier, is that they defined the plan, then refused to let it move. Life shifted, they didn't. The plan became sacred, and the purpose it was supposed to serve got quietly sacrificed to protect it. Either way, the result is the same. You end up defending a plan instead of living a purpose. Now, I hear some version of this a lot from younger listeners, Gen Z mostly, who feel like they're being asked to have their entire life mapped out right now. Like, if they don't have a 10-year plan by 22, they're already behind. And to that, I always start the same way. Hello, I'm Chris. I'm 51, and I'm still mapping out my life. It was impossible to have the whole thing figured out at 18. It was impossible at 24. It's honestly still a work in progress today. And I've made peace with that because life is constantly changing and we have to adapt to what life throws at us. But here's the thing, not having it all mapped out is not a reason to stop moving. So if you're someone who gets overwhelmed trying to build that 10-step plan to get from where you are to where you dream of being, here's me, the productivity coach who's always talking about creating plans, telling you to stop trying to build that 10-step plan. You don't need it. What you need is to understand your purpose. And that purpose doesn't have to be some grand values etched mission statement. Sometimes purpose is as simple as getting into the workforce or landing the next job or just being able to say, this is the direction I'm walking, even if I can't see the whole road yet. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. Living with pain is no fun at all. Whether it's sore muscles from a workout, nagging joints, or even stress that just won't leave you alone. That's why I love Little Golden Shepherd. They make all natural butters from organic herbs and essential oils, formulated to ease pain, reduce stress, and even soothe sensitive skin. I use the muscle butter after tough workouts, and the joint butter is perfect for my knees, which somehow were bad even when I was a kid. I'm so grateful to have Little Golden Shepherd sponsoring the Holistic Productivity Podcast. The way they support the show is super simple. Every time you shop through the link in the show notes, a portion of your order helps keep this podcast going. And here's the best part. If you use the promo code WHOLEPROD, you'll save 15% on your first order. That's promo code WHOLEPROD, WHOLPROD. Try Little Golden Shepherd today. You're going to love it as much as I do, and your muscles will too. Once you know your purpose, you don't need the whole map. You need the next best step. Take it, then reassess. Take the next one, and repeat. Building a plan should never be complicated, and it should never take you further from your purpose than it takes you toward it. So this week, I want you to ask yourself one question, not what's my plan? You've probably already gone through that one, and that's why we're where we're at. Instead, ask yourself, is my plan still serving my purpose? Or has it started asking my purpose to serve my plan? Because a plan is a tool. That's it. It's a tool. And the second it stops being a tool and starts being the point, that's a detour. And you deserve better than a detour dressed up as a destination. Well, that is it for the show today. Thank you so much for being here. I love having you hang out with me for this podcast. And so thank you so much for doing that. You can check out the show notes at holisticproductivity.com/69. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, you can watch the podcast there on YouTube. I drop a new episode every single week, so you don't want to miss that on whatever platform you watch or listen to. And if you learned something today, if you said, that makes a lot of sense, I would love to have you rate the podcast on your platform that you listen or watch. That's just the best way to help other people find the show and have that same moment where they're like, man, that really made a lot of sense. I want to apply that in my life. Follow at Holistic Productivity on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, Substack, all the social medias. You can find me there. And I've got extra productivity tips and motivation throughout the week. It's not the same thing always that you hear on the podcast. So it's great content. Love to have you benefit from that as well. And I'm inviting you to join the Holistic Productivity community online. It is absolutely free, full of great people and tons of resources to help you stay accountable and motivated. We've got people literally from all around the world who are there working on their goals, who are there trying to find that plan, trying to find their purpose and define all of that. So would love to have you be part of that. And link will be in the show notes for where you can join the online community. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. Love having you here. As I said earlier, the reason that I do this show is to help you achieve your dreams. I want you to dream big, plan smart, and live fully. And it's just so exciting to see that happen for you because I know it's going to make a huge impact in your life and probably in the lives of others as well. So have a great week, and I will see you next time. Take care.